What is up, guys? Today we're diving into the wild world of TikTok to react to some hilarious, possibly cringeworthy, and maybe even surprisingly accurate cybersecurity advice content. I'll be giving you my perspective on each video we react to. Before I dive in, if you're new here, I'm Day. I'm a cybersecurity engineer at Amazon, and I've been in the cybersecurity industry for about 5 years now, and my experience spans various domains including detection engineering, security research, cloud security, incident response, and threat hunting. Obviously mostly on the defensive side of cybersecurity. If you're looking to stay up to date on the cybersecurity industry and everything technical and career oriented, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. Also, check out the links below for our resources, including our Discord community of over 5,000 members and our career services, and our cybersecurity newsletter as well. Also, if you'd like some cool cybersecurity merch that doesn't suck or look tacky, our CYBERWOX merch store is now open with our first winter drop, and you can grab a hoodie or sweatshirt or even sticker of your liking. All of that will be linked in the description below, so go ahead and grab your popcorn or favorite snack, and let's see if these TikToks are helping or hurting the people who want to break into cybersecurity.
I really wish this wasn't an
Okay. I'm not gonna say anything.
wasn't an exaggeration. A university degree is absolutely not the way to start your career in technology, particularly in cybersecurity. Believe me,
That is a very bold statement, but let's hear what else he has to say.
I've looked into accreditation standards. It's unbelievably arduous and expensive. Universities don't have the finances to be able to update their curriculum regularly and still maintain their accreditation status. This means that they're operating on outdated technology. They're teaching you stuff that's decades old. That's not an exaggeration. I have a master's in cybersecurity and we were learning stuff on Windows XP. And this was as recently as 2022.
Okay, I think there's some truth to what he's saying there. I've definitely seen a lot of cybersecurity programs that are really outdated. I used to be a cybersecurity tutor professionally and also informally for a while, so I've definitely tutored cybersecurity students, and I've seen some of the outdated material that they're being taught, some of the outdated software, operating systems, methodologies, tools that they're using, and it's kind of concerning in some cases. I would say there are some programs out there that are truly cutting edge and keeping up to date with industry standards. I know a good amount of those out there, but I think the overwhelming majority are probably programs that are pretty old and still using very old technologies and old lab-based environments. So there is some truth to what he's saying, but let's hear what he has to say about not doing a cybersecurity degree.
The good news is if you did get your degree in cybersecurity, you can still get a job. The way that you do that is by doing exactly what you would do if you didn't have a degree. Start with your certifications, Network Plus and Security Plus. Learn your foundational skills in Linux, Python, and traffic analysis. Make an e-portfolio, a one-page resume, and apply to 1,000 jobs. I've helped over...
That concerns me a little bit because I feel like it's an oversimplification. Get Network Plus and Security Plus, learn Linux, Python, traffic analysis. Yes, I think those are important skills, but it's still oversimplified and way too generalized. Does that cater to some skill sets or some roles? Yes. Will that work for some people? Yes, but it's still overgeneralized. For the vast majority of people, that might just be not enough. Some people it might be enough. So I would say that when it comes to charting a cybersecurity plan, don't allow overgeneralized advice to be your end all be all, because it could lead to what we saw initially in the video, right? You just go through this generalized plan and then end up realizing that's not how it actually works. So yes, there is some truth to what he's saying, but it's too simplified and too general for the vast majority of people. I mean, it seems like he has some results. Let's see what he has to say about that.
Over 90 students start their careers in tech. My best student is making over $300,000 a year. Cybersecurity is the opportunity of your lifetime.
So really, he's had some success with what he's doing and people that he's helped out. But I still think that, that statistic of like 90 students, right? What is the demographic there? Did they have previous background, right? Did they have other skills, right? Did they have other experiences? Did they do other certifications, other trainings, right? That statistic is very, very broad, right? And of course, that's credit to him, but there's so much in those statistics that, you don't know about, right? There's so much context you don't know about. And except someone is really like obviously like detailing all of these statistics about these 90 students, there are things that you might not know that they might have done extra, or things that might have benefited them beyond just doing Network Plus or Security Plus, or like learning Python or learning traffic analysis skills that is really, really overgeneralized. But I think there are some facets of this that I agree with, some things I don't agree with. Overall, kind of in the middle of, agreeing and disagreeing with some things that he said here. But pretty decent video. Let's see what the next video has to offer.
Cybersecurity hard? The answer to that question is no, it's not hard. So much fun in my opinion. You literally get paid to be nosy. Like what? That's every girl's dream. I'm kidding.
Well, first and foremost, nice fit, but just pretty interesting that like her daily fit is like horse Reddit kind of fit. It's pretty clean, I'd say, but just interesting. Just saying.
I'm kidding, I think. No, but I'm really passionate about this job. I took on cybersecurity because I have to have certain challenges to keep me stimulated. I get bored very easily, and when it comes to cybersecurity, you are never too bored. If you're wondering if I code...
Yeah, I think like that's, pretty true. Like cybersecurity presents like different challenges, whether you're doing offensive security or defensive security. Like there's always something that's going to challenge you, something that's going to like kind of make you think about things differently. And I think it definitely does keep you stimulated, especially when you do incident response like I've been doing for the last year. Like there's always a new challenge to solve. There's always a new incident to respond to. Always a new attacker methodology or behavior to investigate and understand and recover from, right? A new exploit or vulnerability you have to understand and figure out how to detect or respond to, right? So it definitely keeps you challenging, and it could be really, really stimulating. So a lot of truth there. Let's see what she has to say about coding. I think it's going to be an interesting one.
Code? No, I do not code. We have tools for that already have the code within them. Now, I will say this, my coworker did have to code a certain parameter within our security tool because they were taking too long and he just wanted to do it himself. Now, I do have a computer science degree, which is heavily involved in coding. However, am I great at it? No, I'm not, but I don't have to do that. You really just have to...
I think it's interesting that she has a computer science degree, ended up in cybersecurity. I think there are people out there that kind of have that kind of trajectory or, career pathway for them from computer science to cybersecurity. Like my best friend Charles has that same, trajectory from computer science degree to cybersecurity professional. I actually have a video podcast with him about all of that. Definitely go check it out. But with the comment about coding, I always want people to be super, super careful about generalizing coding when it comes to cybersecurity. Like she said, her coworker had to like write some custom code for like some tool or whatever. I feel like sometimes a lot of videos, a lot of, tutorials, people like downplay coding when it comes to cybersecurity. Yes, you're not writing like enterprise like software or like building like products or features in the software, but when it comes to cybersecurity, like the evolution of like cybersecurity analysts, cybersecurity engineers right now, even in the past few years and in the future, is going to require strong coding skills, like skills with regards to like writing functioning code in Python or in Go or in Java or JavaScript, right? Not like enterprise grade software, but enough to like create scripts to interact with API. Every single cybersecurity interview that I've done recently or, in the past few years has required some sort of coding, like, write a Python script to do this, write a Python program to do this, or write a function for this, or create a program that interacts with multiple APIs, write a test for that program, right? Like there is more coding components involved now because of automation. Like a lot of what I do on a daily basis is involved with automation, writing code in an automation platform with regards to like pulling data from APIs, like analyzing that data, doing a bunch of things, right? So yes, coding is not an end all be all, but it's becoming more important. So it's important for you to build those coding skills with like Python, and don't downplay them. The better and the earlier you learn those skills, the better for your career, because it could easily stagnate you. Like the first guy we saw, he mentioned like learn some Python scripting, right? I agree with him on that. It's getting more and more crucial and important to learn how to code. Let's see what else she has to say about staying up to date with malicious attacks.
To stay up with the new malicious attacks that are happening, the new vulnerabilities, the different tools that we use. There are some days where it can be slower than others, but you can always find something to do. And sometimes it kind of balances out, because one week you'll probably have a busy week, and then the next you'll probably have a very slow week, and you're just like, I'm okay with it. Now, my position in the position you are interested in may be similar in the sense of general cybersecurity. However, the company is going to be completely different. Construction company, banking company, you're going to see different things throughout those companies. They're not all going to be the same. But again, cybersecurity isn't hard.
Okay, I think at a high level, I disagree with the fact that cybersecurity is not hard. It is a hard field to get into, to work in, and to growing. I feel like there are various roles within cybersecurity that vary in their complexity and the involvement of work and the technicality, right? And maybe requiring communication, right? All these different things adjust to scale when it comes to like the technicality, or not technicality necessarily, but the level of difficulty with the cybersecurity job. So I'll let you know, like, the further you go in your cybersecurity career, the more expectations that are required of you, the harder it becomes, right? And you don't want to, if you're someone who's like truly ambitious, who seeks like new challenges, you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with your skills, you're improving, because you can easily stagnate because you're not building your skills beyond the entry level. Because what it takes to get into cybersecurity, as hard as that is completely different from what it takes to progress in your career. I've gone from being an intern to working in a SOC, to working as a detection engineer at a mid-tier SaaS company worth like billions of dollars, to not working at Amazon, like worth trillions of dollars. Each and every step required a different level of difficulty to go beyond that. And if I'm going to grow in my career right now to become a much senior level engineer, it's going to be a different level of technicality, different level of difficulty there, and it's going to be a different challenge. So cybersecurity is hard. The skills required to get in are hard, and the skills required to grow are also hard. So I would say with that, I disagree, but with some of what she said, I agree with, complexity, keeping you motivated and, stimulated with different challenges. Pretty good video. Let's go to the next one.
Day in the life of a cybersecurity professional working in tech. On a cross-country business trip, learning how to better leverage our cloud technologies. Even though I work in tech and I'm a cybersecurity professional, I still like to dress feminine and pink and stay true to myself. And another thing, you should not stunt who you are or make yourself smaller for any industry or profession. You should always stay authentically you, regardless of what that looks like. Let your education and your knowledge speak for yourself. Everything else is just filler. During this 3 days,
I completely agree with that. Like, you never should or never have to stunt yourself, your personality, the things you bring to the table for any reason, right? Now, if they're negative, you need to work on that. But the positive attributes you bring to an organization, to a team, you should never have to stunt that for anybody. Like, don't let anybody try to dim your light, because some people out there, and I've experienced them, I've worked with them, they will try to like dim your light. They will try to like, especially if you're like young and smart. I've experienced that a lot. Like, people trying to like downplay your achievements, downplay your skills, downplay like your background. And I'm like, I could say some really like not nice things, but I wouldn't. But don't let anybody downplay that. And also with regards to dressing, I personally am also a strong believer in like dressing your best. I know like in the tech, scene, like you could just, come to work in a hoodie and some jeans, and that's cool. Like, I dress like that to work sometimes, but honestly, these days with RTO, I've been going back to the office, 3 days a week. We're about to get back into that 5 days a week next year, which is about to be crazy. But I've really been putting a lot of effort, putting a bit of effort into my, my outfits going into work, because I like the way dressing well makes me feel. Like today, this is my fit for work. I just got back from work a few hours ago, and I'm still dressing that fit. I was like, you know what, let me do a video with this fit, right? This is a nice jacket. This is a nice, sweater or cardigan. Wear some nice pants, some nice shoes. I'll show you all the fit, like put a picture on there. Like, I really like to like look my best, because it makes me feel my best, right? Especially if I'm in meetings or I'm having interactions with my coworkers. Like, the way you dress actually brings some confidence for you. And I've been trying to do that a little bit more. For me, it's easier to put my outfits together because I just have a lot of pieces that fit together. So if you don't have a good wardrobe, I think it's very worth investing in it if you're going to be working in the office like myself. So very much agree with that. Let's see what else she has to say about the conference.
Cybersecurity conference, I was surrounded by global experts that were proficient in cloud technology. It was so inspiring and invigorating. I now have a better grasp on generative AI solutions, and how to better optimize our cloud technology. But what no one can prepare you for is the cross-country travel fatigue. I was so ready to get home and see my husband after the 3-day business trip. I took a shower, changed my pajamas, and went to sleep.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Like, last year I traveled a lot while working at Datadog, went for a bunch of conferences. Like, I was virtually traveling like every single month. I would travel to New York, Boston, Vegas, Austin, here in Texas. Traveled to a bunch of places. Traveled to New York so many times. And I actually kind of missed the travel, while working at Datadog, but it was pretty fun. I would say I did get burned out from traveling, like, back to back to back. And this year I decided, you know what, I'm not traveling at all for any conference or anything like that. Even though I had opportunity to with my new role, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay in Texas all year long. So I didn't travel this year. Well, at least for work or for anything work related or conference related. It can really get tasking like mentally when you like are up and going, balancing that with work and other responsibilities. So I would say enjoy travel, but like don't get burned out on it, because it could easily like become something like, oh, this is fun, but then it really gets not fun like quickly. So yeah, great video overall. Really love the points on like, not letting anybody stunt your light or dim your light in any way possible. Let's go into the next one and see what they're talking about.
Here's everything I made and spent as a cybersecurity professional in the month of September. My paycheck was $8,700 on top of my $7,500 sign-on bonus, totaling $16,000. Building was having a lot of issues, so I did not pay rent. My car lease is $550. Car insurance is $231 because Georgia.
First and foremost, $16,000 is a really good amount of money. I mean, maybe that might not have been like her monthly paycheck, but with the bonus, like definitely adding on to that. But a $16,000 month is a pretty good month, I would say.
$1,200 on dining out and groceries. I paid my mom's mortgage, $320 in flights, $3,000 into my IRA, $6,000 into my 401k. Then the rest went in.
I really love like anyone my age or even slightly older than me or younger than me who like actually prioritizes like retirement. Like, everybody knows, if I love you, if I like you, I want you to start putting money in your retirement, because the earlier the better. So it's really good to see that she's really prioritizing her retirement. Good for her.
Furnishing my apartment.
Okay, it's a pretty short video, but I think pretty good use of the money. I feel like if you make a little money, like sometimes there's nothing wrong in spending like, some higher amounts of money on like things like dining or traveling or being generous or whatever the case may be, right? I don't know if I will ever get to the point of like sharing how much I make on a monthly basis, because man, it just feels so private. Like, and I feel like people are gonna just like, I don't know, like I feel like there's a part of the internet that's gonna be like, oh, like you're 22, you're making this much money, and they're just gonna like follow me for that reason, when that's not really why I want people to follow me. And it's gonna be a part of the internet that's gonna be like, there's no way you're making that kind of money at 22, right? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'll eventually get to the point where I make a video like this where I talk about like how much I make and how much I spend. But I don't think I'll ever do that. I don't think so. Like, it just feels so personal. It feels like so invasive. Shout out to people that can do that, but man, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it just feels like you're peeking into my life while I'm taking a shower in the bathroom. It feels so personal, but we'll see. Pretty good video though. Let's go to another one. Oh man, had me in the first half. On to the next one.
So I've been getting a lot of questions asking about what I do for work, how I'm able to have such a nice lifestyle, how I'm able to afford my Lamborghini and my Hellcat, and the secret is I am in cybersecurity. I've been in cybersecurity since I was 7.
Wow, Lamborghini and Hellcat. That's impressive. Not even gonna lie.
17 years old. I'm now 22.
That's actually even more impressive. He's a bit older than me, about a year, but he's been in cybersecurity since he was 17. I've been in cybersecurity since I was 18, technically 17 if you count college, but started my career when I was 18. So pretty impressive. Like, anyone who's able to start their career at such an early age, You gotta give them props. Like, they must have been doing something right, like, and must have been grinding at that age in order to getting. So shout out to the man.
I've been making six figures since I was 19 years old. Last year I had my best year. I made over 400K in cybersecurity last.
Very impressive. Very, very impressive. I'm actually very impressed.
And the best part about that is I don't have a degree. I went to college for a year and dropped out. I went ahead and got certifications, got certified, and I hopped straight into it. And now I'm helping others get into cybersecurity. I do have a course, but
So I would say this is very, very impressive. I would say that, being able, first and foremost, to get into the industry at a very early age is very impressive. Like, there are a lot of similarities. Like, with us there, I started making six figures around 18 or 19 as well, within just a year of being in the industry as well. I'm not making $400,000. I haven't made $400,000 yet. So it's very impressive that he's making that amount of money. Now, I do follow this guy. I follow him on YouTube and, other platforms. I think it's also important to mention that, first and foremost, there's a lot of context behind, like, him making this much money earlier on. And I think it's important to set that expectation. Now, I don't think he's being disingenuous, like, saying this, right? Of course, I'm a content creator. I know what it means to try to get people's attention and, like, say things that attract them to, like, an end goal, a funnel, whatever the case is. So I'm not knocking his hustle here. I think it's important for people to realize that a lot of times when there is something very exceptional, those people are typically the exception to the rule, and there's some context you're missing there. I think the context here is, like, for example, right? This guy's doing very well for himself. He's been in cybersecurity industry since he was a 17, but he had family that was already somewhat in the industry of tech that kind of guided him into that. That's some context that you're missing, right? There's also the fact that, he holds multiple jobs. Like, he said it on his channel and, on various videos, like, he does multiple jobs to make $400,000. So yes, he's doing well for himself. He's trying to help people as well, but you got to factor in, like, not everybody's going to be able to do this, right? All of this is just like a proof of concept, a proof of, like, I've done this. These are my results, right? This is the possibility, but always bear in mind that there is sometimes a lot of context that you're not seeing, right? If I tell you the same thing, like, hey, I started making six figures when I was like 18, right? There's a lot of context you're missing there. I knew about cybersecurity since I was 15 when I was in high school. I got introduced to it, right? I graduated high school at 16, right? So all of these different things, like, factor into my background and my experience that helped me, like, accelerate my journey a lot faster. Same with this guy, right? Again, he's doing very well for himself. Super impressed, super motivated for myself. Like, I'm like, this is really good. Like, I know I should be pushing harder to make as much money as he's making, right? I'm not jealous or anything, but it's very impressive to see people my age, people that look like me, doing very well for themselves in their career. So let's hear what else he has to say to finish the video.
course, but it's not a traditional course, you guys. I help my clients all the way through until they get into their first entry-level cybersecurity position. You guys are interested, hit that link.
Okay, so it seems like this was like a kind of like promotion for his course or whatever, which, if he's doing what he says he's doing, more grease to his elbows. That being said, let's go to the next video.
I'm 23 and I make six figures working from home in cybersecurity. Here's how I got my job in 4 weeks. The first step I took is I enrolled in this online self-paced.
I'm a hustler, so I know a hustler when I see one. He's 22 right now. I can tell he's a hustler. I know a hustler when I see one. Shout out to the hustlers out there.
Nonprofit college. It's probably the cheapest degree in the whole entire country and it's completely accredited. The college is named Western Governors University and you can get your bachelor's degree that comes with 14 cybersecurity certificates in less than 6 months. I personally finished the whole.
Shout out to a fellow night owl. Like I said, I know a hustler when I see one. I went to WGU myself, so 100% agree with that. I just don't like it kind of makes me twitch sometimes when people kind of like really oversimplify WGU. It's like you can get a bachelor's degree in 6 weeks and get 14 certificates, like certifications. But it's kind of like, it's not that easy. You gotta be a hustler for that. But let's hear what else he has to say.
Finished the whole entire bachelor's degree and got my 14 certificates in 10 weeks.
Yeah, 10 weeks. 10 weeks. Now, the only way this would have been possible, like, there's no convincing me that this was not possible any other way. The only way this would have been possible was if he was doing this full time, which I don't think is impossible if he's, that young, maybe like still living with his parents or whatever the case may be. So completing that many certifications in a matter of 10 weeks and the entire coursework is insane. Also, the fact that he could probably have come in with a couple of certifications, so maybe that might have helped as well. But again, regardless of how fast he did it, still a little hustle to get that done. So respect for that.
However, I actually got my job before graduation. The way I was able to get a job without a degree is because the school, while you're progressing through it, gives you these certificates that are industry standards that everyone knows about. So personally, I had the A+, Network Plus, and the Security Plus certificate, which remember, were completely free from the school. Which brings me to step 2. I contacted a bunch of LinkedIn recruiters.
I think that's one of the good things about WGU. Like, they really care about both your education and your career. I also got a job before I finished WGU. Matter of fact, I already had a job before I got into WGU. So really great school. Lots of good things about the school. Affordability, pace, accreditation, I think is the word. And a lot of other things that are really good about a school. So definitely recommend for anyone out there.
And figured out how I can make the best resume for cybersecurity. And I actually have a template in my bio. It's free. I made sure I had a whole bunch of great information in there highlighting my skills and my willingness to learn, which then leads me to step 3. I took my new beautiful resume that recruiters helped me make, and I went on LinkedIn again, and I applied to over 1,000 jobs. Applying to so many jobs did take a while and a lot of energy, but it was worth it at the end because I got exactly what I wanted. Which led me to my 4th and final step, interviewing. They grilled me with all kinds of questions. I answered all the ones I could, and the ones I didn't know the answer to, I simply told them, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm willing to learn. I was very open about my weak points, but I also made sure to talk about my strengths. When it was all said and done, they offered me a job about a week later, and I started working. Follow to learn more.
Again, like I said, I know a hustler when I see one. He's definitely someone who's like really hardworking. And I'm pretty sure like he's put in a lot of effort into all of these things, because being able to achieve all these things in a short time and at a young age, personally, I know how difficult it is. And he's also someone who is super intentional about what they did. It's unconventional, but some of the most successful people out there are the people with the least conventional routes into something, right? They did the things nobody else was willing to do in ways nobody else was willing to do them. So they have the results nobody else has. So again, smart guy, hustler, respect the hustle.
I'm in cybersecurity.
And how much money do you make per year in cybersecurity?
About $200,000 a year.
And how many years?
I know a Ghanaian or Togolese or Nigerian when I hear one. It's got to be, or from one of the islands, but most likely West African. I know my people anywhere, most likely. If you're watching this video, let me know if I'm right. I'm very sure. But let's hear how he's making $200,000 per year in Houston, Texas, working in cybersecurity.
Sir?
I have about 7 years of experience.
And what type of educational background do you have? Tell us.
I was going to school for my mechanical engineering degree, but I dropped out and took a boot camp with Symposia.
And why did you choose this boot camp? And tell me more about it.
Honestly, because it was cheaper than college, and it took less time for me to get the skills that I needed to get into cybersecurity.
And about how long did it take you?
About 3 months, really.
And what is exactly that you do in cybersecurity?
Wow, okay. I don't know if it's 3 months to do the boot camp or 3 months to get into cybersecurity, but if he really did that, that's very impressive. Very, very impressive. And if he has 7 years of experience and he did this, like, you know, this video was posted in what? Oh, earlier this year. So like we're in 2024, 2014. So it was probably much easier to get in back then if that was what he did, if that's how it worked out for him. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, because it's kind of like software engineering boot camps, and like how it was easier to get in like back then, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually saying the truth. So impressive still.
Exactly that you do in cybersecurity. What's your role?
My role is to help my company. I'm in a GRC space of cybersecurity. My role is to help my company comply with rules and regulations, and also to protect their information assets.
Wow. And then, do you enjoy working in tech or cybersecurity? What are some of the benefits as perks?
Oh man, I love it. I'm at home. It's a remote.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a pretty good video. Very realistic. Works in GRC. You know, GRC is a pretty good field, right? Pretty common, popular field of cybersecurity. So I think he's doing very well for himself. Very impressive. Great video overall, just general. Let's see the next one, and this one is talking about the cybersecurity lifestyle is cap.
The cybersecurity lifestyle that's being sold to you guys on social media is cap. There are a lot of creators in this space who, they're on jets all the time or they're traveling all the time, etc. Not hating on them, kudos to them. I just want to make sure that I'm level setting your expectation of what it means to actually be in this industry. Cybersecurity can definitely be a launch point into that type of lifestyle, right? So I'm not saying that they're not living that life, but for the average everyday cybersecurity professional, you're not going to be paying $16,000 a month for an apartment, riding around in a Rolls Royce. Like, that's not what this is. Now, of course,
He's very right. Like, he's very, very right. To achieve that kind of lifestyle, there are a couple of things that have to be in play, right? You've either been in the industry for quite a while, you're making a lot of money, right? And you've built up, like, for a fortune for yourself, maybe investments or whatever that's making you a lot of money. It's possible, right? Some people have been doing this for a while, before social media became a thing, and now they're just living their lives, right? That's a possibility. If you're doing bulk bounty and you're making like millions or $1 million a year, you could probably live that lifestyle. Like, it's very possible. Also, if you're making enough money but also living on debt and credit cards and all that stuff, you could probably live that kind of lifestyle. Maybe you could sell that lifestyle to somebody with debt and make that money back being a creator online, right? Selling a course or whatever, right? That's also a possibility. Another thing is also selling courses. There are people out there who sell courses, right? They make a lot of money from courses, so they can live that lifestyle. So there are possibilities, where you could live that kind of lifestyle, like live that life, but it's not gonna be, like he said, the everyday cybersecurity professional. Like, you're just gonna be living a normal life, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? You could get to that point at some time, but I like the fact that he's level setting with the general population about this is not always going to be the case. This is not the realistic, like, cybersecurity money out there. There's money out there, but it's not always going to be the case. Some people also, another thing as well, people that work in sales, they make a lot of money as well. So different possibilities there, but it's not everybody's situation.
of course, you can maybe build up your skills from your cybersecurity career and go into business for yourself, which maybe can provide that kind of lifestyle. Or you can work your way up at a company to where you're making, $500,000 a year as a VP of cybersecurity or whatever the case may be. Or you can become a cybersecurity kind of like creator like I am. I know there's a lot of avenues for monetization that way. But cybersecurity as an industry by itself, it can provide you realistically with like an upper middle class kind of lifestyle, which really is not bad at all. But
he's right. Like, realistically, it can provide you a middle class, upper middle class kind of lifestyle, right? Like, and I think middle class and upper middle class could be very generous, like, in terms of like categorization, because that depends on different places. Like, 150K in Texas is different from 150K in New York, right? In Kansas, right? Like, that money like goes in different ways. Now imagine making like double that, right? In those different places. In New York, it's still a lot of money, but it goes further in other places, right? So yes, like middle class, upper middle class, but that's still very generous. For some people, it might even be upper class for them, right? Depending on the population of the area, depending on the cost of living of the area as well. So pretty good points there.
I just don't want you guys to get the perception that you're going to get an entry-level role in cybersecurity, and then the next day you're going to be on, private jets and flying out to these different cities and stuff like that. That's not the case. And again, I'm not hating on the people in this industry who have been able to build a business from their skills or who have been able to build a business off of their cybersecurity content. That's exactly what I'm trying to do, to be completely transparent, right? But I also want to make sure that, I want you guys to have reasonable expectations.
100%. I love that. I think that there's an over glorification of that higher level lifestyle, but it's not accessible to everybody, especially at the entry level. I promise you, that's not going to be the lifestyle you have, except you really hit it big somehow, right? But I love the transparency there. I love level setting the expectations there. And yeah, great video there. I don't really see a lot of like realistic, like short form advice out there, but I love this one. Really, really realistic. All right, this is the last one. Do not learn cybersecurity in 2024. Gotta love content creators. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's part of the reason why like I don't do short form content as much, and I'm not really on TikTok like that. Like, I just can't. It's hard for me to like be clickbaity, right? And that's what sells on these platforms. Like, I try, but I might maybe post content on TikTok every now and then, but I just can't. Like, it's very hard for me to be clickbaity. But he might not be clickbaity. Let's see what he's about to say.
Do not get into cybersecurity in 2024 if you identify as one of these three things. Number one, high stress and pressure.
Definitely clickbaity. Like that intro, if you identify as one of these three things, goes on to say high pressure and stress. Good hook though. Good hook though. Not gonna, say much about that. But let's see what he has to say. High pressure and stress for the first one.
For protecting sensitive data and systems from breaches and attacks. The consequences of failing to prevent an attack can be really severe, causing financial loss and also reputational damage. Staying ahead of threats and potential crisis situations can lead to a lot of people burning out. Number two is the requirement for continuous learning.
Great point there. A lot of the work is high pressure and stress, especially if you're doing incident response or different aspects of, cybersecurity. The company as well determines that. So it's a lot that goes into it. Let's see what he has to say about continuous learning.
The cybersecurity landscape is constantly evolving with new threats and technologies emerging every single day. We need to continuously update our skills to remain valuable to the company. This requires a commitment of lifelong learning, which can be quite time-consuming and overwhelming to some. Some people like to learn a skill once and use that skill to earn money for the rest of their lives, whereas in cybersecurity, you're going to have to continue learning. And finally, to get to the highest salaries with cybersecurity, you're going to have to be really technical and
I like what he said about continuous learning. It's super important. When it comes to cybersecurity, you're essentially signing up to a lifelong commitment of learning, of building your skill, of, evolving with the attacks, the threats that occur on a daily basis. I was literally just working on a video right now about phishing as a service. Like, gone are the days when phishing was just like, oh, random, like, weird email. Attackers have become a lot more efficient and even, like, productized their phishing services. So now you can essentially subscribe to a phishing service like the way you would subscribe to Netflix for, like, $200 a month, and they help you set everything up. They help you set up a tool that can bypass MFA, that can perform attacker in the middle attacks. It's crazy. I'll probably work on the video till I finish it up. It would be really, really informative, especially for people out there who are trying to protect themselves and their families. But realizing that you have to constantly evolve with attackers as they evolve is going to be important because it's a lifelong commitment to that. So, good point there.
technical and specialized. This could require a deep understanding of complex systems, software, and even require coding. There are roles within cybersecurity where you don't have to be technical and still earn a high salary, such as consulting or GRC. In terms of being valuable to...
So I think that I like the point of highly technical. It is very highly technical. And I think technical, is also a subjective point, right? There's a statement about GRC not being a technical field, and I recently had a conversation with someone who works in GRC at GitLab, and they're doing it as skill, and it is technical for them, right? I think that there's a misconception that it's not technical. I would say though that we're gonna see a phasing out of these generic things about cybersecurity and as an industry, because people are going to start realizing that a lot of the things they're seeing on the internet is just not true. That's why it's harder for people to get into the industry, right? Like when you say technical, right, or some fields are not as technical, right, that's not the entire reality of things, right? Sometimes, right, the fields that are not as technical do require a level of knowledge and skill set in the domain that they're hiring for. So yes, he's right about it being highly technical, but again, technical is relative. It depends on the company, on the role, on the domain, right, on what they determine as technical for the role, for the level of experience or years of experience, right? So all of these things are subjective. You gotta take everything with a grain of salt. Coding, again, I'm probably gonna make an entire video about the lies about coding in cybersecurity and how all of the advice out there will harm you at the entry level and will also harm you going further into cybersecurity career. So yes, highly technical, but technicality is very subjective as a term in the cybersecurity industry. Let's finish up with the video and see what he has to say with the rest of his advice.
Company, having knowledge of both is what's going to set you apart. That's why I've tried varying my experience within risk and compliance and consulting whilst also building some technical knowledge.
I should also add real quick that consulting can be highly technical as well, right? Security, offensive security consulting, right? When you do digital forensic assessments as a consulting company, it could be very, very technical. So again, it varies, right? It's very subjective.
Within the cloud. Be sure to leave a comment down below if you have any questions on how to start your cybersecurity career, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Those videos are very fun to review, so if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe, and send any TikToks my way if you want me to react to them. Also, once again, check out the links in the description for our resources, including our Discord community, our cybersecurity newsletter, and our cybersecurity merch. And since you click on this video, you definitely like this one about the realities of being a cybersecurity engineer, especially working at a FAANG company. It'll be on the screen right now. Check it out, and thanks for watching.